Very good morning to you. 7 a.m. Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Welcome to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Heat advisory in effect today. We could get a heat wave once we break 90 degrees. That means 3 days in a row of 90 degrees or higher temperatures. Sunny to partly cloudy, maybe a stray thunderstorm, highs in the upper 90s. We head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a first check of the Garden State forecast. And Mike, what a an unnerving night last night. I know you have
Hmm.
friends or relatives right in Hawaii,
Yep.
and we had the tsunami hit Hawaii. I don't know if I'm sure you were watching. There were feet of water in some of the coastal communities. Thankfully, it doesn't look like a major wave swamped the shores like there was a fear. But I mean, what was going through your mind when you heard this? This looked like a serious deal.
Serious deal, but also to see the evacuation
Mhm.
process, how the alarms when the sirens went off, the residents in Hawaii had about 6 hours to prepare for
Yep.
the first wave, and yet the traffic jams that were caused as a result, not necessarily panic, but still to see all of the people clogging the roads and the highways to get to higher ground. So it's great that they're taking it seriously, and they took it seriously yesterday afternoon, happening, in the middle of the afternoon of what would have been an ordinary Tuesday. But to see the, kind of the, I guess, the emergency management struggle of how you have people following orders, yet it's hard to get around when you have everyone going in the same direction. So I'm sure
Yeah.
there's lessons to be learned there. But good to see that, yeah, it was just
Yep.
a smaller wave and small light inundation down along the coast. None of the, even though for a top 10 earthquake in this
Yeah.
century, so to think that was a really large, movement of the earth last night happening off the coast of Russia.
And look for some more. I mean, the aftershocks were in the sixes. That's the
Yeah,
aftershocks were larger than most major earthquakes, which was
sure.
terrifying. And it doesn't just end, right? So we could see aftershocks for weeks after this. So I think everybody can't let their guard down just yet because an aftershock in the fives or sixes could also cause a tsunami. So I'm sure these people are going to be
Yeah.
on edge for weeks to come.
Yeah, but good to see the system worked. All of the buoy systems and the
Yes.
dart system out in the Pacific, picking up the wave as it crossed the Pacific. So, a good test, a good dry run. Good to see that there wasn't much, at least, impact here on the
Mhm.
U.S. soil. But it's something that I guess a good exercise, for the
Yes.
future to make sure everybody's keeping along. We've had a good exercise in the heat department, Ken. It's been days of this hot weather, and yet here we are, day three, likely hitting that 90-degree mark probably as soon as new, maybe later this morning, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. The excessive or the extreme heat warning continues up toward the northeastern corner of New Jersey with that shade of purple. The rest of the state close to the heat advisory. So the warm weather continues today. As far as temperatures go, yeah, we're just 6 degrees away from that 90-degree mark in Newark, 80 this morning in Long Branch, and the humidity remains high. So yeah, it'll stay humid with temperatures running about 4 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. Quite humid. Oh, there's that Cape May number. Above 75, it feels like the rainforest. Yeah, 77 is quite humid and swampy, so it'll feel humid all through this afternoon. That will help develop a few pop up showers and thunderstorms later today. You don't see them right now on the map. It's going to be a quiet, sunny start to the day. But as those breezes begin to blow in from the south and southeast today, and then ultimately taking over from the southwest, it just keeps pumping in more of that heat and humidity, helping to form a few storms up north throughout this afternoon. So the futurecast shows it nicely throughout the rest of the day. Look at that 101 actual air temperature in Newark, 100 in Hackensack. And then by 3 o'clock, you see a few of these rogue passing thunderstorms move on by, primarily in the northern half of the state. Tomorrow morning, more of a cloudy scene statewide, and then the storms get going as early as before the lunch hour. So it's primarily a rainy day tomorrow with these showers and storms moving in through the afternoon, heavy at times. Even some of these long duration, slow moving storms down south could be hovering over certain areas for an extended period of time. That promotes a flash flooding risk, and there is a slight risk of flash flooding throughout the day tomorrow as a result, given how much water is coming through by the afternoon. That starts to clear out for Friday night, and we have a cooler feel forecast for Saturday. Chilly to start in the 50s and then climbing back into the 70s only throughout the afternoon, likely low 80s as the high. So a very pretty weekend ahead with much drier weather once we get through the heat and humidity today, and of course those flooding rains tomorrow. Last of the rain ends Friday night, clearing the way for a beautiful start to the week and on Saturday, Ken.
Sorry, we're busy getting traffic again, Mike. Mike's just doing his job and we're busy getting traffic. But thank you so much, sir. We will check back. It is 76 degrees. Let's take this if we can right now. You'll see why we were so busy getting traffic. We just had this reported a second ago and we jumped to get this video. This is as you head toward Philadelphia, more toward central New Jersey. This is I-195 at Route 130. There is a crash investigation westbound on 195 east of exit 5 by 130 in Hamilton Township. Do we have that, Pam? There it is. Thank you. So this is a live shot right now. This just happened in the last couple of minutes. Crash investigation already happening, or at least it just got reported in the last couple of minutes. 195 westbound east of exit 5, Route 130. And this is in Hamilton Township. The right lane and the right shoulder, as you can see, are closed. That is causing miles of delays. This is normally a trafficked roadway. And to have this now at rush hour is not going to help. So this, again, this is down in the vicinity of Hamilton Township. Beware of that at 195. We have a down pole on Route 38 westbound by Pine Street and Mount Holly Township. The right lane and right shoulder are both closed there. And we have delays on the Pulaski Skyway eastbound by 1 and 9. That is 1 and 9, Pulaski Skyway. That's the truck 1 and 9. This is in Jersey City. All lanes are open. It's just massive amounts of volume at this hour. Let's take a look at the Hudson River crossings. We have 20 minutes at the Lincoln, 10 to 15 at the Holland, but this is the GWB crossing. We're told right now there's a problem. There are delays on the GWB itself from an earlier disabled vehicle that was moved. So this is causing residual delays, as you can see, crossover the upper level on the right, lower on the left. So it's going to take you 40 minutes to get into Manhattan right now because of that earlier disabled vehicle. 7:08 is our time. And once again, we get back to our big story, the tsunami waves that hit nations across the Pacific after a massive 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck off of Russia's remote eastern coast yesterday, with tens of millions of people urged to evacuate to higher ground. Now, that 8.8 quake is the sixth largest in recorded human history on the planet Earth, just to give you some perspective. The waves hit Russia and Japan first, then Hawaii, California, Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. Tsunami warnings and advisories remained in effect early this morning for the people of Hawaii, California, and the rest of the U.S. coast, on the West Coast, of course, with further waves expected. They could come, but at this point, whatever major waves would have hit, the time has passed. So any waves that would hit now would be lesser, but they still have to keep their guard up. The Philippines, Indonesia, China, Chile, Peru, Mexico, Panama, French Polynesia's Marquesas Islands, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, and Taiwan have also issued tsunami advisories, warnings, and watches, although some have since been canceled. The quake off the coast of Kamchatka Peninsula in far eastern Russia was the world's strongest again since 2011. Back in 2011, a 9.0 magnitude quake hit northeast Japan, triggering a devastating tsunami, and that killed tens of thousands of people, you may recall. This is tied with the sixth strongest ever earthquake on record. 7:09 is our time. A Washington Township couple was ambushed by two masked robbers after returning home from dinner at the Ritz-Carlton in Philadelphia. The attackers followed the couple to their Crofton Run home on Sunday night, where one struck the man with a handgun, stealing his Rolex and wallet, while the other held a woman at gunpoint. Surveillance video shows the suspects fleeing in a vehicle with a temporary plate. Despite a drone and canine search, the robbers are still on the run. 7:10 now. A police-involved shooting in Berlin Township left a suspect hurt yesterday near Haddon and Bate Avenues. The incident happened about 2 in the afternoon following reports of shots fired. The suspect was taken to Cooper University Hospital with unknown injuries. Witnesses described a tense encounter between officers and the man before shots rang out. No officers were reported hurt. Police are investigating. 7:10, now to the latest on Monday's mass shooting in Manhattan. Police say gunman Shane Tamura of Las Vegas had a documented mental health history, but his motive is still not confirmed. They are also looking into the possibility that he may have had help, as somebody else provided parts for the rifle that he built. Investigators are looking into a note that Tamura had in his car suggesting anger with the NFL over something called CTE, a brain injury caused by playing football. Remember, the NFL headquarters was located in that Park Avenue building where he went. He says he played for the NFL, but the league says no, he never did. So this may have just been his mental illness kicking in. Tamura did play football in high school, but never professionally. So he suggested he has the disease CTE, but there's no evidence of a diagnosis, suggesting again that it's just mental illness. The only way to diagnose CTE, by the way, is with a post mortem brain autopsy. Tamura shot himself in the chest, ostensibly to allow doctors to examine his brain. But it all may have been just mental illness, sadly. 7-Eleven right now in Spring Lake. Homeowners on Tuttle Avenue were shocked to find an intruder in their bedroom early Saturday morning. Investigators say 36-year-old Georgie Charles of Jersey City took off in a vehicle but was spotted 90 minutes later in Neptune City. Charles was arrested after a standoff with the Monmouth County Emergency Response Team. He now faces burglary and trespass charges. 7:12, more sinkhole problems to report. This one is on the New Jersey Turnpike in Mount Laurel, not far from where we're going to show you right now. In fact, it's about half a mile from the toll plaza, which we could bring up right now if we could. The breach in the ground was found yesterday morning in the southbound lanes near Interchange 4, which is Route 73, forcing the New Jersey Turnpike Authority to close the left and center lanes for emergency repairs. Drivers should expect delays in the area as crews continue to work to repair that hole. 7:12, Montvale police released video of a 15-year-old e-bike rider crashing into a car at about 40 miles an hour. It happened back on July 18th. Video shows the teen slamming into a car that was making a legal left turn from a gas station, flipping the teen onto the car's roof. He was rushed to Hackensack University Medical Center right there. Oh, that's horrible. What a terrible crash. He was rushed to Hackensack University Medical Center. Police say they may ticket both the rider and the driver. 7:13, more Senate grandstanding by none other than our own Cory Booker. Yesterday, New Jersey's senior senator stood screaming at fellow senators from the well of the Senate for not resisting the mean old Trump administration hard enough. He claimed to be upset because he says the Trump administration is withholding police grants from blue states like New Jersey, something that police leaders here in the Garden State have never said is occurring, by the way. Booker objected to 5 of 7 bipartisan police bills, sparking a feud with fellow Democrats, Catherine Cortez Masto and Amy Klobuchar. He demanded equal grant allocation. Well, fellow Democrat Amy Klobuchar accused Booker of just grandstanding, which he is known to do. Remember the 25-hour standing, screaming for no reason, pointing out that he is simply looking to climb into Senate Democratic leadership. Take a listen.
The Democratic Party needs a wake-up call. I see law firms bending a knee to this president, not caring about the larger principles, that those free speech rights, that you could take on any client, why are you bending the knee? I see universities that should be bastions of free speech bending at the knee to this president. I see businesses taking late-night talk show hosts off the air because they dare to insult a president. I see people who want mergers suddenly think that they have to pay tribute to this president. And what are the very people here elected to defend the Constitution of the United States saying, oh, well, today, let's look the other way and pass some resources that won't go to Connecticut, that won't go to Illinois, that won't go to New York, that will go to the states he likes.
How fat did this man get? I'm sorry, I know Cory for 25 years. Cory looks like he's 300 pounds if you look at him. I'm sorry, there's got to be something going on. Cory, put down the food. Just saying. By the way, only 2 bills passed of the 7, leaving the rest in limbo. Booker is, of course, a vocal Trump critic. He insists he's fighting for New Jersey's police and constitutional values. He is the worst actor on the planet. He wants so badly to be the head of politics. He wants to be in charge of the Democratic senators so badly he could taste it. but he's just a bad actor. By the way, under the Biden administration, in fiscal 2022, federal funding to New Jersey police was cut by nearly $1 billion. Cory Booker didn't say a word. 2023, federal funding under the Biden administration to the New Jersey police cut by $284 million. Cory Booker didn't say a word. 2024, it was cut by $324 million. Cory Booker didn't say a word. And now it hasn't even been cut. There's a suggestion to cut back about 80 million, not $1 billion. And he's screaming like somebody is being murdered. That is called a phony, full of shit hypocrite, Cory Booker. Just saying. 716, New Jersey Congressman Herb Conaway and Donald Norcross are demanding answers from the Trump administration about a plan to use Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst as an immigrant detention center. In a letter, they raised concerns about the facility's readiness, costs, and humane treatment of up to 3,000 detainees. While Congressman Chris Smith supports the plan, citing the base's past use for immigrants, Conaway and Norcross seek transparency to ensure there'd be no disruption to military operations. So they've requested a briefing and written responses by August 15th or else. The funny thing is, once again, Democrats are hypocrite, phony BS artists. Conaway and Norcross never protested when the Obama administration housed 500 Haitian migrants at Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst in 2011. After all, it's good enough to house our troops. Why are you worried it might not be good enough to house illegal migrants? They don't deserve anything. They're criminal by being illegal. They violated our laws, congressmen. And by the way, the base can comfortably house up to 50,000 people. Right now, there are about 40,000 living there. So enough of your false pearl clutching. And by the way, nobody has to be housed anywhere if they would simply take up the offer of the Trump administration and use a federal app to self-deport. They won't get arrested, and when they get back to their home country, the Trump administration will give them a $1,000 check. So nobody has to be detained anywhere, Congressman Conway. They could just leave on their own, get $1,000, and apply to come back legally. So stop your whining. Enough. 718 right now. When we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. Heat advisory in effect today, sunny to partly cloudy, maybe a stray thunderstorm, highs upper 90s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with the full Garden State forecast, and we'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Call and tell me if you disagree. I'd love to hear. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Wednesday. I'm Ken Rosato, 719, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Heat advisory in effect in what will be likely a heat wave officially today when we hit 90 degrees. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta to explain with the full Garden State forecast. Mike, by the way, I was just looking to see, and I'm sure you have this already, the tsunami wave heights in the different islands of Japan were Hawaii, were anywhere from 4 to 7 feet. That could be significant because 7 feet, look, we saw what happened with a few feet of standing water in New Jersey a couple of weeks ago. So 7 feet could go in a mile. easily in
Sure.
terms of water. But it's really only the first few hundred feet of coast where you can get pulled back out, and that's where it's the most dangerous. But nonetheless, there's going to be, I'm sure, tens of millions of dollars in damage when all is said and done from
And to
this.
see a lot of the time lapse cameras, Ken, from last night that
Mhm.
initially show the water receding, which is very common with a large tsunami before inundating the shoreline. Very telling, right? Happening right around sunset last evening. So,
Yep.
yeah, a very good warning yesterday. Glad to see that the system worked and people took warning and that the damage wasn't all that bad. So, kind of the best case scenario given the circumstances throughout the day yesterday. Hey, our forecast today looking better this afternoon. Once we get beyond the heat of the day and beyond those 90s from Point Pleasant and Toms River, 96 in Toms River, that's a hot one. Feeling humid all the way up into New Brunswick and Princeton, likely touching 100 at times this afternoon. Feeling much warmer. It already feels like 88 degrees, and yet the sun has only been up for about an hour and a half. So very warm there in Newark, in 60, rather a little cooler in the Pine Barrens, but 86 feels warm right now in Camden. So we have all of this clear sky today. It's going to feel warm and humid. Then coming in from the west, and it's pretty potent, providing with it a lot of energy with some thunderstorms and downpours. It's a very slow moving system, which is concerning given how we know the damage that slow moving, powerful storm systems can do in terms of flash flooding threats. And that's the case for tomorrow. So once we get beyond our beautiful sunny weather today, a high of an UV index of a 9, which is very high. Notice we're quiet throughout the rest of this afternoon, but into tomorrow, that's where we start to see that rain pile up quickly. Could be upwards of 2 to 4 inches there toward Flemington, and yet this map stops at 4 p.m. A lot of the heaviest of the rain gets going later tomorrow afternoon, especially down toward the shore point. So that's something to watch into the end of the day. Very humid, tropical feels like dew points throughout the afternoon into tomorrow. So with that high humidity lasting throughout the end of the day, notice that by Friday we start to dry things out, and that shade of yellow comes across the screen. And that shows the drier weather doing its job, clearing out not only the clouds, getting rid of the rain, but bringing back a beautiful weekend for this upcoming weekend. So as the highs climb again today to the triple digits, it'll feel quite warm, have a few passing thunderstorms by the end of the day, and then tomorrow, early in the morning, could see this start as early as 9, 10 a.m., working across with some big time downpours that kind of persist into the afternoon. So the flash flooding threat is very real, happening earlier in the day tomorrow as opposed to the afternoon and evening last time. That happened 2 weeks ago. All of those storms pushing out and really wrapping up by Friday morning, giving way to a drier finish to the week and a beautiful weekend. Not a cloud this weekend. Really pretty weather with dry air and low humidity. That nice weather sticks around into Monday, and I think we can do it again for Tuesday with nothing more than some high thin clouds coming in for Wednesday, and then our next chance for some rain later on next week. So we're looking good until then. The weekend forecast looks amazing. A stunning one at that. Low 80s on Saturday, mid 80s on Sunday, dry and sunny. No changes to that weekend forecast, and we think it's pretty much set in stone as we go forward. Yes, some of that rain will linger into your Friday night plans, but I think we'll clear out just in time for the weekend, Ken.
Good deal. By the way, I'm just going to leave you with this thought. When I first started working at Channel 7, they had hired a news anchor because he was a pretty boy. That's all I'll say. I won't say his
Mm.
name, Charles Perez. I didn't say his name. And he's a sweetheart of a guy, dumb as a box of rocks. I'm sorry. I've said it publicly before. Sorry. We had the big tsunami of 2011,
Oh,
and
sure.
oh no, it was there was even one. Yeah, I'm sure. Maybe no, maybe it was
The
there was something earlier. There
Japan
was the
tsunami,
Japan one, wasn't it? It was
March
2006 or
of
five or
2011.
okay. Well, he
Yeah.
sits there and mind you, it was 12 hours later, and he's on the air and he's sitting next to one of the most brilliant female anchors at the station. And mind you, it's been hours since the tsunami hit. And here's how he opens. A tsunami struck Japan today, like the movie Anchorman. And in fact, he mentions it in his book. So I'm not saying anything out of school here. And he goes on for 30 seconds, calling it 4 times a tsunami.
Oh no.
His co anchor politely tries to correct him, not by doing it to his face, but by saying, the tsunami, blah, 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 blah. Then when he comes back to finish his read, he looks at her like she's making a mistake and says, the tsunami So I'll just leave you with that. Thankfully, nobody got hurt. That's all that matters. So thank God
Yeah.
for that. All right.
Wow.
We'll be back. Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. I'll go work on the T tsunami myself. We have a lot of traffic to report. That really happened, by the way. And he did mention it in his book. He realized later he made a big boo boo. We do have a lot of traffic. Route 206 right now. This is in Bedminster Township. We have a crash on 206 northbound at Lamington Road. All lanes are closed. Let's go over to Route 130 right now. We have look at this mess we have. This is an accident blocking the shoulder and the right lane. And this is this is on 195 east of exit 5 in Hamilton. So this is causing about 2 miles of delay getting into this point. Only you can see that left lane getting by and it's crawling by because everybody's rubbernecking. We have a down pole on Route 38 westbound on Pine Street in Mount Holly Township. The ramp lane and right shoulder are closed. Let's take a look, if we can, on Route 38. This is by 295, Route 38. This is in Mount Holly Township. Again, we just mentioned actually, but take a look. We actually have video of this too, causing bumper to bumper traffic. That is an absolute mess. The right ramp lane and right shoulder are closed, and that is what is causing that. Your approaches to the Hudson River crossings right now. The Hudson River crossings for the Holland Tunnel, that's only 10 to 15 minutes. Take that if you could, because the Lincoln Tunnel crossing is 20 minutes, and the GWB approach upper and lower levels from an earlier disabled vehicle still crawling. This is 40 minutes to get in by the GWB upper and lower levels, both not good. 726, time for politics from Trenton explained like nobody else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Edge. It's Wednesday, July 30th. Last night, the United States Senate voted to confirm President Trump's nomination of his criminal defense attorney, Emil Bovee, as a judge of the Third Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. The confirmation was by the narrowest of margins, 50 to 49. This is the most loyal MAGA Trump judicial nominees so far. And, as a journalist, I don't take sides on things like this. Not my job to say whether it was a good idea or a bad idea. Some are going to be Bovee fans. Others are going to hate him. And Emil Bovee is 44 years old. So he'll potentially be around for the next 30, maybe 40 years. His confirmation tips the Third Circuit to a majority appointed by Republican presidents. So this is a big deal. And consider this. Every time Bovee casts a vote that you like or you don't like, and that's going to happen for decades, think about Nadine Menendez. Because simply put, here's what happened. Nadine wanted a new Mercedes, and now Emil Bovee will occupy an appellate judgeship maybe for decades to come. Let me explain how I got to this. In February of 2023, Judge Joseph Greenaway, a Democrat, announced his retirement. President Biden had nearly 2 years to fill the seat with a Democratic majority in the Senate. The nomination of Adil Mangi sat for more than 14 months without a vote. Cory Booker alleged an anti-Muslim bias. And 2 Democratic senators from Nevada and Jim Manchin refused to vote for him. So the votes weren't there. Biden couldn't get him confirmed, and he waited too long to change horses. And then his party lost the White House, and Chuck Schumer made a deal on lame duck judicial nominations that didn't include the Third Circuit. Nadine's husband, Bob Menendez, now sits in a federal prison after taking bribes and betraying his country. And Nadine, and I've taken to calling her Imelda, she's awaiting sentencing on her own conviction. But one thing you got to give Bob Menendez, warts and all, is that he played the inside game in the Senate exceptionally well. and he had a lot of seniority. And if he wasn't consumed by his greed and its consequences, it's likely he'd have focused on the Third Circuit seat and probably would have made a difference. So Nadine wanted a new Mercedes, and now it's Judge Bove, or for my fellow West Wing fans, Imelda wants a drink of Wawa. That's it for today, everybody. Thank you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow.
Very good, sir. Thank you very much. And by the way, David Wildstein will be joining us live in our next hour, so hopefully you'll join us as well to see him. It is 7:30 right now. And by the way, in New Jersey's gubernatorial race, a new Fairleigh Dickinson University poll shows leading Republican Jack Ciattarelli shows Mikey Sherrill leading Republican Jack Ciattarelli 45 to 37%, with 16% of voters undecided. Sherrill holds a 7-point edge among independents. That's a big deal. Ciattarelli could gain control and could gain some ground if local issues dominate, while national issues favor Sherrill. All right, let me say this. Ciattarelli needs to get off his butt if he wants to win this race and start talking. He's trying to play the Biden game of hiding in the basement and not talking. Jack, that ain't going to win you a race. And honestly, if that's your campaign strategy, you deserve to lose. Get off your butt. Start talking about the difference between you and Mikey Sherrill. Mikey Sherrill's out there. You're not. It's as simple as that. And if she's going to do the job, then she deserves it. If you're not going to get off your ass and work, you don't deserve it. It's as simple as that. Okay. National issues are currently favoring Mikey Sherrill. Despite strong party loyalty, Ciattarelli does need more independent and Democratic support to close the gap in this key race, which could signal trends for next year's midterms that maybe not. New Jersey tends to be its own thing. The poll was conducted July 17th to 23rd. It has a 3.4% margin of error. So that means that Mikey Sherrill is, by every definition, strongly leading in this race. And considering what the Democrats have done and how badly the Democrat Party is doing nationwide, it just says Ciattarelli may have been the worst choice to run for governor in the state of New Jersey's history for the Republican Party. Just saying. Get off your ass and campaign. 7:32 on New Jersey. The New Jersey Globe and Rider University will host the first gubernatorial debate between Democrat Mikey Sherrill and Republican Jack Ciattarelli on September 21st at 7 p.m. The town hall style event will be moderated by our political correspondent, Laura Jones, and others. It'll air on C-SPAN. The New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission also awarded a second debate to WABC TV, my old stomping grounds, WPVI TV, which is the ABC-owned station in Philadelphia, their sister station, and Rutgers University for mid-October, and a lieutenant governor debate to Channel 11, WPIX TV, and others. These debates aim to inform voters ahead of the crucial election. 7:32, when we come back, coffee, tea, or we will talk with a former flight attendant who took her skills and positive vibes to a brick and mortar building. She opened a coffee shop down the shore. Going to tell us how she did it and what motivated her. The phone lines are open, by the way, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Heat advisory in effect today, sunny to partly cloudy, maybe a stray thunderstorm, highs upper 90s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta back in just a moment. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We'll be back in 30.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Good morning, 75 degrees, 7:34, Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Heat advisory in effect today, straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Ken, good morning. Yes, it's another hot one here across New Jersey with the heat and humidity building. When you stepped outside yesterday, opened the door, went, nope, it's going to be one of those days again. But at least it's our last day of the heat. With the cooling rains tomorrow, that could bring some flash flooding throughout the afternoon. All of that rain ends on Friday, and then we have a beautifully dry and sunny weekend ahead. We start off this morning with clear sky around, no clouds on the satellite picture. We'll keep it that way into the afternoon, and with temperatures climbing even at the beaches again into the low 90s. It's going to be warm right up through Manahawkin Bay, even back over toward Egg Harbor City and Hamilton. Hot weather around through this afternoon, and also poor air quality with some of that particulate matter sticking around from the wildfire smoke, and also the ozone right there through Trenton, 158. That's in an unhealthy for sensitive group. So it's right across the central portion of New Jersey today, with poor air quality extending up into the northeastern part of the state. The worst of the smoke is still over Canada, but you can see right there, all those red dots. It's where the wildfires are originating, even some of the fires out in the western part of the U.S. So that smoke drifting eastward, and some of it working to the ground, which is why you see the forecast smoke here closer in on the map. Now, throughout this afternoon, with the heat index well into the upper 90s and low 100s, it's warm again today, but tomorrow, as those storms work through, it cools down the northern part of the state, keeps southern New Jersey still steamy until that front eventually pushes out. So a very cool finish to the week. We're down in the 50s on Friday morning, and only rebounding into the 70s later on. There's our 101 record set back in 1949. We'll come close to it today again, with the actual high forecast to be 100, and with all of the water temperatures warming into the low 80s, especially over in Sandy Hook as your high tide just after noon, looking beautiful out toward the beaches. But again, it's going to feel hot, especially with that dry breeze coming in out of the north. And the winds today not strong enough to promote even a moderate risk of rip currents, so we're doing good in terms of those currents. Notice all of these fronts here sliding on through. This is the one coming in tomorrow. Turns into a stationary front, hence that warm front there, and allows for quite a bit of rain to fall, and that could promote some flash flooding, especially by the end of the day. It all clears out by Friday night, leading to a very pretty start to the day on Saturday. We dry out beautifully, high pressure moves in, and we've got a lovely finish to the weekend as well. So the 7-day forecast, even though it's sunny and hot today, turns quite wet tomorrow with those storms. Much cooler by Friday, 70 only as the high. It'll feel quite cool, I think, by the afternoon. And then chilly to start off Saturday morning with a dry breeze, 80 as the high, rebounding into the low 80s and staying there throughout the early part of next week. So a beautiful start to next week. A little bit of a delay on the start of that rain down the shore tomorrow. Probably doesn't happen until later on, but that'll also keep the heat around for one more day. I think Saturday clears out nicely, with next week looking gorgeous to start. So a very pretty way to begin the weekend and start off next week. August coming in, very pleasant, Ken, once we get rid of all of these stubborn, heavy rain events from July.
It is what it is, but I see the cool down is going to be more pleasant at least. A friend of mine who's a radio guy, about an hour before I was listening, as I was getting ready for our broadcast, and I got a kick out of it because I've been there. I did morning radio. He's saying, "Am I reading this correctly? That tomorrow the high is only going to be like near 70 degrees?" And his news person came out and said, "No, that's tomorrow night. Tomorrow's going to be like 80." I've been there. I've been there 100 times. You get in, it's like the beginning of your show. You wipe your eyes. You go, "Oh, whoops." So
Yep.
anyway, just thought I would share. Thank you very much, Mike. Much appreciated. Right now, those sticky 77 degrees, and you feel it when you walk outside. But as Mike said, we should see a little bit of relief in the days ahead. It is 7:38 right now. Taking a look at some of the traffic we have in the area. Before we show the video, Pam, I'm just going to talk about this. We have a crash on 206 northbound by Leamington Road in Bedminster Township. All lanes are closed. We don't have a camera shot of that because there is no camera there, unfortunately. But just suffice to say, that is a busy, trafficked roadway, and that is closed right now. So that's an absolute mess. We also have a down pole on Route 38 westbound by Pine Street in Mount Holly Township that we did show you earlier. The ramp lane on the right shoulder remain closed there as they work on that. We take a look at let's take a look at the Route 3, actually, 3 by 495 as you head eastbound into Manhattan on the Lincoln, going into the Lincoln Tunnel. This is right before you turn right. See where it curves to the right? That's where it merges. These people are merging from 490, I'm sorry, from Route 3 into 495. That's what that is. So right kind of in the upper right, that's the actual merge to 495, and then it becomes the helix. It wraps around like a snail shell and takes you 1 mile into the Lincoln Tunnel. That is bumper to bumper. We're now told it's about 35 minutes in via the Lincoln Tunnel. Just volume at this point, just an absolute mess. It's only about 15 at the Holland. That's a better bet. We also have the GWB approach, upper and lower roadways. Not so bad if you don't mind waiting 45 minutes. Yeah, yeah, very bad, in other words. So this is what you got. This is all because of an earlier disabled vehicle that was on the upper level of the GWB. So people started heading to the lower level, and this is what you got. So the upper level's on the right, lower level's on the left, and we're told is about a 40 to 45-minute crossover time into Manhattan. Again, all due to earlier volume caused by a disabled vehicle that has since been moved. Other roadways to tell you about, we have a disabled vehicle 678 northbound by Federal Circle ramp. That's as you come from New York to New Jersey with the right lane blocked, and a crash investigation on 195 westbound by exit 5, Route 130 in Hamilton. The right lane and right shoulder are both closed. Our time is 7:40. Brooke Heron is the owner of Sea-Watch Coffee and Market in Manasquan. A North Jersey native and former flight attendant, she turned her passion for hospitality and love of the beautiful Jersey Shore into a community-driven coffee shop just steps from the beach. With curated goods, local favorites, and a laid-back vibe, Sea-Watch has quickly become a summer favorite. Good morning to you, Brooke.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I see we got you outside of the place on the phone. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Oh, no, that's fine. We do it this way too. It's all fine. What made you leave being a flight attendant? I know that's a very demanding job because I have friends who've done it. What made
Yeah.
you leave that and open Sea-Watch Coffee and Market?
This is something I've wanted to do since I was probably 19. And it's always been in the back of my head, even through all of my travels. And, I think just over the years, just traveling so much for the last 18 years, I've kind of pieced together what I would really want if I ever had a brick and mortar. And the opportunity came up to me last year and I took it.
That's amazing. And a lot of people wouldn't take that chance. It's sort of a leap of faith. Do you think your experience as a flight attendant helped shape the approach that you have to running your
Definitely.
business, the hospitality? So talk about that.
So I grew up in the restaurant industry. My grandparents own or my family runs it now. My grandparents are gone, but we've had a family business called Shortways Barn in Hawthorne, New Jersey, and I started working there when I was like maybe 14. So I've always been in the service industry. That restaurant's been there since 1933. So I think it's just something that I grew up doing, and that kind of catapulted me into being a flight attendant, which is also about service. And then down here at the Jersey Shore, I have cousins who opened up a restaurant called Ohana Grill in Lavalette, and I helped them open that. So service has just always been something I've done. I used to do hair. I was a makeup artist in New York City. I've taught yoga. So everything I've done has been centered around service. And this just seemed kind of like bringing it all together. And yes, a lot of my travels, a lot of the things that I carry in my store are from my travels around the world. I have Mexican glass, I have Moroccan glass, I have incense from Kathmandu, Nepal. So it's all, and a lot of local too, because we have so much right here in New Jersey that I didn't have to go
So true.
far for great product.
So very true. New Jersey's great for that. I mean, sandwiched right
Yes,
between two of the biggest cities in America, New York City and Philadelphia, and New Jersey itself is more than
absolutely.
self-sufficient. Just a wonderful state for that. But you're a North Jersey girl, Hawthorne. So when you went down to the Lavalette area or South Jersey, and you have your place now, was it a big kind of a lifestyle change moving down there?
Well, no, I mean, I grew up in Pompton Lakes. My family's business is in Hawthorne. We vacationed in Lavalette, OB1 in Lavalette my entire life. So I grew up coming down here. I actually moved to Killington, Vermont for over a decade. I was there. I think that changed me. And then when I came back to New Jersey, I didn't go back to North Jersey. I came down here because I just wanted to live by the beach forever. So I figured if I'm going to move back to Jersey and take this flight attendant job, I took that in 2008. I said, if I need to live in New Jersey because I'm based in New York City, I'm going to live at the beach. And so that's how I ended up down here. I started out in Asbury Park. I've pretty much lived everywhere between Asbury Park and Seaside Park, pretty much everywhere.
I'm with you. Hey, listen, that's why I used to work and anchor the news in South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. And that was from
Okay.
1998. And to this day, I have a condo right on the sand in Fort
Yeah.
Lauderdale. And if I don't get there every week or two, I get anxious. I have to be
I
on the sand looking at the water, or else I feel like there's something wrong.
I'm with you. Absolutely. 100%. It's calming. Every day after work here at Sea Watch, I go and jump in the water. And it's just like,
I love
it
it.
makes everything better. It just does. It makes everything better. And I actually used to live right next door to my brick and mortar. I moved there in 2019, just suddenly needed a place to live. And I moved into this amazing bungalow right across the street from the beach, which is, yeah, right next to Sea Watch. And it was probably two of the best years of my life. And I was here during COVID, and I would
Ah,
just get up every morning, make myself a coffee. I'd walk across the street. You know, I'm a low tide girl. So if it was low tide, I would jump in the water. If not, I would just sit and meditate in the sand and drink my coffee. And I just always knew that this was where I was supposed to be ever since 2019. So 6 years later, I'm back just in a different way. So it's really cool.
I, I love that you meditate and drink coffee. You're we would be fast friends because that would be me. Like I have this is a 16-ounce mug. I go through 3 of these a day, okay? And that's it. And I love my different flavors of
Cheers.
coffee depending on the day. And I would you and I literally would talk hours every day, I'm sure.
Well,
How do you
Ken, you need to
determine
come
Go ahead,
down.
go ahead. Yeah,
You need to come down
especially the
because
fact that
if you
you're
like,
by the water.
yeah, I mean, it is amazing to be across the street from the water. Again, I go over there every day. Um, what I was going to say is if you like flavors, you need to come down and visit us because one of my girlfriends in Vermont bought a piece of land and she started to tap her maple trees and she sugars maple and I take her maple syrup and I turn it into a salted maple latte. So you have to come down and try that.
Oh, I adore you. You're amazing. You're just amazing. This is great. You are clearly you are what I call a managed type A. You're a type A
Ooh.
personality, but you control it and you stay calm. So you know how to
Yeah.
manage your type A because I sometimes don't know how to manage my type A, and admire someone who can do the meditation and to bring it down. I think that's probably why I need to be by the water. I know that's the only way I could stay calm. What
A
advice do you
hundred
have for
percent.
women or right? What advice do you have for women or entrepreneurs who want to launch their own businesses?
Don't wait. Just do it. Don't wait. You
There
know,
you
I
go.
waited so many years thinking that I needed an angel investor, thinking I needed a partner, thinking I needed to be more secure in my life, thinking I needed all of these things, but really I just needed to do it. I just needed to take, yeah, the first step forward. And I'm like, listen, say la vie. I'm not going to sit here and say, I wish, I wish, I wish, but I probably should have been doing this 20 years ago. I'm like, I've never felt better in my life. I'm like, I feel like, yeah, like just don't wait. Just if you have a dream or an idea, just try it. And if it fails, it fails. What are you going to do?
Mhm.
Go back
It's
to
part
what
of
you were
life,
doing
right?
or find something new, you know? Like I really
Exactly.
wish that I had that attitude a long time ago. I think it was always there. I just was afraid to let that part of me, you know, be in the forefront, but I'm not afraid anymore. So I'm excited for so many things. I have so many plans. This is just the beginning.
That's awesome. So, in fact, every life coach will tell you, right, that fear is the only thing that holds us back, that we hold us back. Nobody else does.
Yes,
Because if somebody says no, there are 10 million other people who may say yes. So it's only us, the fear of rejection, the fear of what if, and then what. It's only us. We're the ones who hold ourselves back. So you are a perfect
definitely.
example of saying,
Yep,
just go for it. And by the way, if it did fail, you try it again another time if you want. Maybe you just have to tweak it a little bit. That doesn't mean how many people have
exactly.
failed in business and that Trump went bankrupt. Okay. I think he did okay after that. All right. You are amazing. We have to have you back on, if for no other reason, just the positive vibes that you put out. You're an awesome person, former flight attendant turned business person. Brooke Heron, owner of Sea Watch Coffee and Market in Manasquan. Visit it when you go down the shore or just make the special trip. It's worth it. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. All the
Take care.
best to you. You too. It is 7:49. Pam, I'm just going to give you an on-air heads up. We're going to forego the break because of our time situation, so we can get Mike geared up. It is 7:49 right now. We have a heat advisory in effect today. Sunny to partly cloudy skies today. Could be a stray thunderstorm. Highs in the upper 90s. And here is meteorologist Mike Pavetta. He has the full Garden State forecast. Mike, you could just feel the sticky when you open the door. It's just really there. But Mother Nature is
Yeah,
going to say bye-bye, hopefully, to some of that today.
I think that today we get our third round of it, but it's the last day, so we enjoy the sunshine this afternoon because it's all about the clouds and the showers the next 2 days. Yeah, it's going to be hot yet again. Temperatures climbing yet again into the low 90s there by the early afternoon, 97 in Newark by the late part of the day, and even through Wayne and Morristown, hot all around. In terms of air quality, we're starting off a little bit above the poor level, but getting to the unhealthy level by this afternoon, thanks to some of the ozone, some of the stagnant air that's been hovering around, as well as the smoke particles from those Canadian wildfires. Regarding tomorrow, there is a slight risk, that's level 2 of 4, for flash flooding. Now, the storms that we had 2 weeks ago that created the flash flooding in Union County were level 3 of 4, so we're not too far off from that, given how through Friday is a forecast 3 inches of rain that could fall, and this is tomorrow over toward Morristown and Flemington, lesser toward the shore points. But again, as we saw just 2 weeks ago with those storms, these could change and shift just a matter of 50 miles. So it's a large system that moves in and gives us our storm threat by the end of the day on Thursday. Then we have the heat to look forward to. The first 2 weeks of August are expected to be slightly above average going into the beginning of next month. And with that, we'll have equal chances of rain. So it could be a hot start to August as we see the beginnings of what will be a pretty decent weekend ahead. Once we get beyond the flooding threat tomorrow, Friday clears out nicely by the end of the day, and then Saturday and Sunday starts off a beautiful stretch of weather, taking us into next week. With the drier weather on the way, the storms are delayed a little bit because they take some time to move through southern New Jersey. These are your shore points forecast. And then by, I think, Saturday into Sunday, beautiful weather returns with the dry weather, and we dry out and stay clear into Monday and Tuesday of next week. So a very pretty forecast ahead. Once we get through the heat today, the storms and flooding threat tomorrow, and then it's clear sailing into the weekend and next weekend.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. It is right now very sticky, 76 degrees already throughout the whole northern two-thirds of New Jersey from everywhere I have thermometers to look at. It's just sticky and oppressive, and the air is not moving right now. Something else that's really not moving right now. Let's take a look at this. This is in Woodbridge Township. This is routes 1 and 9 northbound, north of Route 35 in Woodbridge. The two right lanes of the three lanes are closed. That's why everybody's trying to get to the leftmost lane. That is due to a water main break. That is going to destroy your morning if you got to come through there. Again, this is in Woodbridge Township, routes 1 and 9 northbound, north of Route 35. An absolute mess. We have a crash on Route 206 northbound by Lamington Road in Bedminster Township. All lanes are closed there. Down pole on Route 38 westbound by Pine Street in Mount Holly Township. The ramp lane and right shoulder are closed, and a crash investigation on 195 westbound east of exit 5, which is Route 130 in Hamilton. The right lane and right shoulder are closed. We have a mess getting into the Lincoln Tunnel right now. It's about a 35-minute crossover time. It's only about 15 to 20 at the Holland. Take a look at the upper and lower level approaches to the GWB. Still very heavy. We're told it's about 40 minutes making your way over. Upper level is on the right, lower is on the left. No matter which way you go, it's going to take you some time. So give yourselves extra travel time. 7:54 is our time, and the Trump administration and Chinese officials are moving toward extending a 90-day tariff truce. The two sides struck back in May, but President Trump has not yet signed off on it. Listen up.
In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China after productive talks in Geneva. Both sides now agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed after April 2nd to 10% for 90 days as negotiators continue on the largest structural issues. And I want to tell you that a couple of things. First of all, that doesn't include the tariffs that are already on, that are our tariffs, and it doesn't include tariffs on cars, steel, aluminum, things such as that, or tariffs that may be imposed on pharmaceuticals, because we want to bring the pharmaceutical businesses back to the United States, and they're already starting to come back now based on tariffs.
Momentum to extend the truce, in which both countries held off on imposing massive triple-digit tariffs on imports on one another, came as a result of 2 days of U.S.-China talks in Stockholm. Trump eventually paused most of the tariffs for 90 days while the administration negotiated a number of successful trade deals. Countries that have not yet agreed to new trade deals will see tariff hikes starting this Friday, but it hasn't seemed to impact the stock market at all. Stock exchange seems pretty happy because we have deals with the major traders, the EU, which is our number one trade partner, and we have a great deal right now with Great Britain. So being that we have deals with them, everybody else is sort of extraneous, and anything we get beyond that, it'll be kind of icing on the cake. 7:55, a Washington Township couple was ambushed by two masked robbers after returning home from dinner at the Ritz-Carlton in Philadelphia. The attackers followed the couple to their Crofton Run home on Sunday night, so from Philly into New Jersey. One struck the husband of the couple there with a handgun, stealing his Rolex and wallet, while the other held the wife at gunpoint. Surveillance video shows the suspects fleeing in a vehicle with a temporary plate. Despite a drone and canine search, the robbers remain on the run. 7:56, a police-involved shooting in Berlin Township left a suspect hurt yesterday near Hatton and Bate Avenues. The incident happened about 2 in the afternoon following reports of shots being fired. The suspect taken to Cooper University Hospital with unknown injuries. Witnesses described a very tense encounter between officers and the man before shots rang out. No officers were reported hurt, and police are investigating. In Spring Lake, homeowners on Tuttle Avenue were shocked to find an intruder in their bedroom early Saturday morning. Investigators say 36-year-old Georgie Charles of Jersey City took off in a vehicle but was spotted 90 minutes later in Neptune City. Charles was arrested after a standoff with the Monmouth County Emergency Response Team, and he now faces burglary and trespassing charges. 7:57, Montvale police released video of a 15-year-old e-bike rider crashing into a car at 40 miles an hour. Stop what you're doing and take a look at this car trying to get onto the roadway, and look at that. So now the question is, was he breaking the law by flipping around? Because if you look, there's a double yellow line with kind of the hashtags, which suggest you're not supposed to cross over that line. And the question is, was the driver in the wrong? The driver was driving into oncoming traffic, and the bike rider appears to be speeding. As a result, this, by the way, happened back on July 18th. As a result, the police say both will likely be issued summonses or tickets for that. They're both reckless in that case, but yucky. Wow, it's amazing that the rider of that bike survived, because that was incredible. He was rushed to Hackensack University Medical Center, and he is doing okay right now. Well, a lot of pain, but he's alive. New Jersey Congressman Herb Conaway and Donald Norcross are demanding answers from the Trump administration about the Trump administration plan to use Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst as an immigrant detention center. In a letter, they raise concerns about the facility's readiness, costs, and humane treatment of up to 3,000 detainees. While Congressman Chris Smith does support the plan, citing the base's past use for migrants, Conaway and Norcross seek transparency to ensure there would be no disruption to military operations, and they've requested a briefing and written responses by August 15th. Conaway and Norcross, though, never did protest when the Obama administration housed 500 Haitian migrants at Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst. After all, it's good enough to house our troops. But they are not, or they are saying, by the way, it's not hospitable enough to host people who are here illegally. Does that make sense? So our troops live there. That's their home. By the way, these military bases are not what you think. It's not like barracks and beds on metal frames. These are houses. Husbands, wives, gay couples, straight couples, they live in what looks like a little town. And that base can comfortably house up to 50,000 people. Currently, there are only 40,000 living there. So, what is the deal? By the way, nobody has to be housed anywhere. Remember, the administration has offered anyone here illegally to pick up your phone, use the app that was set up by the Biden administration, and report yourself, saying that on this date, I will self deport. If you do that, nobody will come breaking down your door and arresting you or putting you into a migrant shelter. And when you get to the country that you are headed back to, you can then apply to become a US citizen from there, and you'll have an opportunity. And the Trump administration will send you a $1,000 check. So nobody has to be housed anywhere. So the whole idea of the pearl clutching that, oh, you're going after the migrants. They're here illegally. There is a legal means for anyone who says that our immigration system is broken. No, it's not. There is a step-by-step process. We take in 2 million migrants every year in this country, more than every other country on the planet combined by a lot. So we do have a system of allowing migrants to come in. Okay. It's worked fine for 250 years. If you'd like to become a citizen, we'd love to have you. Just do it the right way. If you want to order steak and eggs at a diner, you don't break the back door down and stick up the chef at gunpoint and steal the steak and eggs. You walk in through the front door, get seated, order the food, pay, and leave. Right? Pretty simple. There is a system for it. Just saying. 78 degrees now. It's 8 o'clock. When we come back, it's a charity fashion show that you will not want to miss. We'll talk with celebrity hairstylist Kevin Kelly. Also, we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 30. And a very good morning, 8:01, Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Heat advisory in effect today. Sunny to partly cloudy. Could be a stray thunderstorm. Highs upper 90s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Ken. Yeah, if you're getting heat fatigued, there's some good news. We get some cooling showers by tomorrow, and that will allow for a nice cool down into Friday. Temperatures feeling quite chilly, in fact, to start off the day early Friday morning. With the extreme heat warning again for northeastern New Jersey, that's the third day in a row of the 100 plus degree feels like temperatures. The rest of the state in orange, that's the heat advisory up to Atlantic County. And already the temperature actually reading at 86 degrees there in Newark. So very warm this morning, 4 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, and quite humid. Even with the dew point approaching 80, it is rainforest-like down along the southern coast. Plenty of humidity to endure through the first part of the day. So a very sticky feeling around. Heat drives up that humidity into this afternoon and makes it feel oppressive yet again. Now, with the winds coming out of the south through the end of the day, they're light at first, but it's just enough to help spark off some storms to our north as that front begins to push on through. And that'll happen only in the northern section of the state later on today. It happens after 3 o'clock with some rogue thunderstorms happening there over the hills and working their way north. Then by tomorrow morning, we tap into the more widespread rains that take over the state. Very slow moving at first and last through most of the day. So it'll rain early on the day tomorrow, and that flooding threat happens throughout tomorrow afternoon, even right through the early morning on Friday. So there will be the potential for some flash flooding, especially tomorrow. But it all clears out for Saturday, starting off in the 40s early Saturday morning. Quite chilly down in the 60s at the coast, but it's a dry breeze that'll bring back a refreshing feeling. It should feel like the fall early on Saturday morning with clearing throughout the day, and it stays sunny all weekend long, nice and dry going into the end of this weekend. The weekend forecast, or at least starting off the rest of this week, with the rain chances tomorrow and Friday, heavier showers tomorrow, clearing by Friday afternoon, only 70 as the high, and then 80 with a dry feel on Saturday. So we're getting rid of that humidity, Ken, as soon as we can, and bringing back lots of sunshine for the weekend.
Thank God. I'm schwitzing
Yeah.
on my schwitzing. We need it. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. We'll check back. It is 8:04 right now, 78 degrees already in northern New Jersey, 76 in Trenton. We have a lot of traffic to talk about. Take a look at this is 1 and 9 northbound, north of Route 35 in Woodbridge Township. That mess you see right there is due to a water main break that just occurred in the last 45 minutes or so, and that is forcing the two right lanes to be closed. So you see people trying to squeeze by in that left lane. That's the only way to get by. That is going to be there for the duration of the morning. Probably it'll take a few hours at least, or by the time they get that water main repaired, this is what you got. So unfortunately, Woodbridge Township, two right lanes closed. On routes 1 and 9 northbound, north of Route 35. We have a crash on 206 northbound by Leamington Road and Bedminster. All lanes are closed there. Down pole, Route 38 westbound by Pine Street in Mount Holly Township. The ramp lane and right shoulder are closed there. We have a crash investigation, 195 westbound east of Route 130 in Hamilton with the right lane and right shoulder closed. And right now, very heavy at all your Hudson River crossings. It's about 15 minutes at the Holland. That's your best bet. But the Lincoln is looking at 40-minute delays making your way from the New Jersey Turnpike to Route 3 and 495. And we take a look at the upper and lower level approaches, 8095 on the GWB. Very slow, about 35 minutes now making your way across. Still a little better than the Lincoln Tunnel. Nonetheless, that's what you got making your way to Manhattan. It is 8:05. Kevin Kelly is a celebrity hairstylist, extension expert. I could use extensions, Kevin, and founder of Kevin Kelly Vision. On August 7th, Kevin is hosting his fifth annual charity fashion show in Homedale, a glamorous night that brings together talent from the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Jersey Shore, and beyond, all for a great cause right here in the Garden State. Let us welcome Kevin. Good morning to you. Good to have you on.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It, Well, it's awesome. Look at this, knock on the mic. It is awesome that you do this because you certainly don't have to. And to organize a fashion show of this magnitude, I can't even imagine what it's like and whom you have to talk to and the amount of preparation it goes into. This is the fifth year that you're doing your charity fashion show. So tell us how it started and what inspired it.
So yes, it's a lot of work, but it's something that we really enjoy. So it started actually as our salon moved 5 years ago, and we decided that we wanted to do a grand opening. And we were like, let's just put on a fashion show. It'll be fun. We'll show hair. We weren't even really into the clothes at that point. And I didn't put the tickets at like like a limit of who could come. And like over 120 people like signed up to come. So we were like, okay, well, our salon can't hold that. So we hurried up, scrambled, got a venue, and it was this epic night. And I remember standing there being like, this is amazing. And let me just back up a second. Before we actually went forward with getting the venue, I called up one of my friends that has a charity here local called the Rain Foundation. And I was like, we would love to donate some of the proceeds to you. And that's how it kind of started. And then once we seen the outcome of the first year, we were just like, we have to continue to keep doing this. It was such an amazing night. And then we went on to working with Dress for Success the next year, 5 Under 40. Last year was Hazlitt Hope. Everything in the local community. And all while we were doing this, we always had a passion for giving back and we wanted to start our own charity, but it's a lot of work. So just taking the right steps to start Kevin Kelly Vision was throughout all that. But we were so happy to give back to all those charities.
You literally embody what it is to be part of the community, the fabric of the community. It's about raising money for people who need it, right? For charities, but at the same time,
Yes.
it's a lot of work, but it sounds like you love it, right? It's a lot of
I do
fun.
love
And
it. And it's
go ahead.
it's
Yeah.
just a different way of doing things. You look at all the other charities that do, golf outings. We don't have that kind of clientele of the charity to do a golf outing. It's a great thing, but we have more women based than men based. So I have to kind of think about what is a different way to also get people interested to come to these things, because that's how we raise money, is having interesting things. We did a basketball game actually with one of the housewives this past year, and that was a super fun thing. So we try to come up with creative ways to raise money for the community.
That's awesome. Which of the housewives
Yeah.
are take part?
It
Because
was
I've done so much work with them over the years.
Yeah, so Danielle Cabral, that was who we
Nice.
did. It was ball. Yeah, it was a ball with the Cabrals. It was really fun, and they're all really so great, and they all support me. Dolores Catania, Melissa Gorga, they're all very great. The Jersey Shore, Mike and Lauren, Jay Wow, and Zach, they're all very, very supportive, and um, I'm super grateful for that.
A lot of people do not realize that, and I'm glad you're pointing that out because I was 20 years with Channel 7, and I've been doing this show now since the beginning of the year. The Jersey Housewives and all, they really give a lot of their time
They do.
and
They
they
do.
help a lot of charities, not just one or two. They're there at a lot of charities.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Yes.
people don't realize people who have any negative feelings about the show, then realize
Yeah.
that it's intentionally over the top so that you watch. When you meet these people,
Right.
they're awesome people. They really,
They
really
are.
are
They
good
are.
New
They
Jersey
are very
residents,
good.
and they give back a lot. So what
Yeah.
exciting names and surprises and guests can we expect this year?
Well, Danielle Cabrosh will definitely be there. I'm super excited for that. I believe Mike and Lauren will be there. And we have some other special guests that will be there also. So I'm super excited for that night. We usually sell out like 200 tickets. So it's a great night. And we have like, we're actually giving back every year. We do a community service award. So we either pick a young entrepreneur or someone that has a charity that gives back to the local community. So we actually picked this girl, Piper. She helps give back to one of her good friends had passed on
Mm.
from suicide, and she started a charity off of that. And it's just so sweet. She's young, she's in college. She plans this walk every year, and she's doing it all by herself from college. And it was an epic walk this year. And I just think that she deserves all the success in the world with it. So we're honoring her this year. So that's a big
That's
moment in
really
the night.
sweet.
We're doing the clothes for Amanda Jean. She has 2 locations. She's a great person to work with. So we have a lot of fun things for that night. And of course,
That's
having fun.
really, really sweet. I love it. Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
good. There's no reason why not. You should have fun, and that's what brings
yeah,
people out because if it was miserable, nobody would go, right? The whole point
exactly.
is to make it a
Exactly.
fun night, and you bring some celebs out, and everybody have a little
Yes.
cocktail, and you donate money, and the more cocktails, the more they donate, and that's a good thing. But that's what it's
Exactly.
about, you know.
Yes,
I've
it
done
is.
charity for years, and that's the whole point. Because if it was miserable, no one would take part. You are
Right.
truly a true Jersey name now. And how has the community
Thank you.
supported you over the years? And how did you grow from starting out to being who you are now?
Yeah, I mean, the community is definitely getting to know us really well. We started back in Union Beach over 8 years ago, and we were just this little salon, and my parents believed in me and were like, let's just do it. And we did it. And from the first year we did breakfast with Santa, we wanted to get involved with the community. And our first salon was in a lower budget, Rome. So we were like, let's do, a breakfast with Santa. And we did it. And we had so many people come out. And, you don't realize those little things, what they do for the community and what they do as for, getting clients in the door. And we don't just do it for clients, but it just brings us all together with the community. And I think that's what it's all about. And then we've continued on since then doing different things. We do back to school book bags, we do, haircuts. Our charity is based on giving back beauty services, but I can't just stop there. So I continue to go on to doing book bags. We do a huge Christmas drive on Christmas Eve. We partner with Eat Clean Bro, and we give out as many meals as needed. I believe last year we did like over 200. So we just do things all around the year. We see where needs. We gave back to the fires last year. We just kind of see where we feel that it needs our help.
When do you sleep?
Not much, but I'll find one day.
You're an amazing man, Kevin Kelly. I mean,
Thank you.
just truly the fabric of New Jersey's community. You make it. Well, let's just put it this way: you're an example. And if you
Thank
you
you.
show me a successful business person a successful business person right there has to do what you do. You have to be part of the community, go out, press
Yes.
flesh, meet people, and give back. And that's when you win people over by their heart. It's one thing to
Yeah.
just be a store and people come by and they patronize you. It's another thing when you go out and give back to the community, then people feel a
Yeah.
loyalty to you. And it's clear that you
Yes.
do that. Check out the 5th annual
Yes.
charity fashion show in Homedale on Thursday, August 7th. Kevin Kelly, celebrity hairstylist, extension expert, founder of Kevin Kelly Vision, and an all around nice guy. Thank you for joining us this morning. Please come back again.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. All the best. It is 8:14. Speaking about all around nice guys, when we come back, I should say, you know him, you love him, you can't live without him. New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the latest on the upcoming gubernatorial debates and where things stand in the polls. We have a heat advisory in effect today, sunny to partly cloudy. Could be a stray thunderstorm, highs in the upper 90s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with the full Garden State forecast and a little relief in sight. And we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings, back in 30. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:15, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Heat advisory in effect today. Sunny to partly cloudy, maybe a stray thunderstorm, highs in the upper 90s, but it will officially be a heat wave once we hit 90. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. I'm looking ahead to the relief tomorrow, Mike.
Yeah, I'm looking ahead to the beautiful weather, almost a fall-like feel forecast for this weekend with the low humidity, the dry air. There will be perfumes of pumpkin spice in the air already at the big box stores. You've seen you've seen the Pam, our director, is very happy about that. Not today though. We're back to the heat and humidity. Got to sweat it out toward the beach. Low 90s along the water today. Upper 90s, close to 100 inland. It's going to be hot west of the Parkway, just like it was yesterday, with that high humidity already making it feel like 90. There you go, 8:16 in the morning. We have our feels like temperature of 90 and the actual air temperature not too far behind. So with all of the clear weather today, it's hot and humid again. Back off to the west, these are the storms that provide the flooding threat tomorrow as they approach New Jersey, gaining some energy, interacting with that southerly breeze, and likely promoting some flash flooding tomorrow, starting early in the morning, around the morning commute, lasting throughout the day into the evening. So enjoy the sun today because we're not going to see much of it tomorrow. UV index of a 9, which is very high. The rain forecast totals, these are the individual points that the computer models pick up. Beginning tomorrow morning, look at how those numbers quickly rise from Sussex, 2 to 4 inches for you, even down toward Trenton. And this is only through 5 o'clock tomorrow. There could be some more rain heading into tomorrow evening as that wet weather gets going. It's all due to the amount of moisture in the air, the dew point, or the temperature where the air is saturated, very high in the low and mid 70s, and it stays that way throughout the day tomorrow. Now, by Friday, that's when the drier air moves in. You see the shade of green go to yellow. That's the drier weather, the numbers dropping into the 50s, and it'll feel quite pleasant, even with some 40-degree dew points on Saturday morning. Yeah, that's fall-like. That'll be lovely and refreshing early on the weekend. So, one more day of heat and humidity with the sunshine today. There's our 100-degree actual air temperature forecast for Newark by 2 o'clock today. A few rogue passing thunderstorms, nothing severe, nothing long lasting, and then that moves on by the end of the day. It's tomorrow that the storms are more widespread, much larger. Look at them move in. They happen earlier in the morning and last through the afternoon. They're slow moving. Rain comes across the same areas over and over again, and that's a cause for some concern, especially due to the speed, the slow forward movement of those storms. and how much water they contain. So flash flooding a threat throughout the day tomorrow. I'm sure we will see some advisories go up from the Weather Service and some alerts, but it all clears out by Friday night into Saturday. Sunday looks beautiful. Even Monday, we get a bonus day into next week with that beautiful dry weather and pleasant, comfortable feel with the low humidity. So the weekend forecast looks amazing. Low 80s on Saturday, low 80s on Sunday with less humid and dry weather. Barely a cloud in the sky, Ken. Very pleasant weather ahead once we get beyond the heat today, the storms tomorrow, and then Friday is like a kind of a cool, cloudy sort of get your bearings together day, get ready for the weekend sort of day.
It's regroup time. Friday,
Yeah,
Friday is
yeah,
like,
that's it.
remember what it was like when it was under 95 degrees. That's what Friday's about.
Right. It's your
All
mental
right.
health day. Nature's given us a little bit of a zen break.
I could use a year of those. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. We'll check back. It is 79 degrees already, sticky, 80 in Trenton, it's 79 in northern New Jersey. And we do have a lot of traffic to talk about. Let's take a look here at 1 and 9 by exit 35. This is an ongoing problem that you see here. This has been going on for over an hour. So, what we have is a water main break on 1 and 9 northbound, north of Route 35 in Woodbridge. Two right lanes of the three lanes closed. So, you can see there on the upper right side of your screen. Everybody has to get over to the leftmost lane in order to get by. It is nightmarish. That is going to be there for hours because up ahead, just about, maybe another third of a mile beyond the top of that screen, you have dead stopped traffic because of the water main break. So just an absolute nightmare this morning. We have a crash on 280 eastbound, just west of exit 7, which is Pleasant Valley Way, West Orange. A left lane is closed right now. And we have a down pole on Route 38 westbound Pine Street in Mount Holly. The ramp lane and right shoulder are closed. Crash on 206 by Lamington Road in Bedminster. All lanes are closed there. And we have about a 20-minute delay making your way in the Holland Tunnel. It's about 25 now at the Lincoln Tunnel, and it's 30 minutes. We take a look at the upper and lower levels of the GWB. 30 minutes from this point as you make your way through the Fort Lee area, right across the GWB into Manhattan. It is 8:21. The New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission, ELEC, has just announced the first gubernatorial debate of the 2025 race for governor will be hosted by the New Jersey Globe, us here at On New Jersey, and Rider University. This highly anticipated town hall style debate between Democrat Mikey Sherrill and Republican Jack Ciattarelli set for September 21st at Rider University. Joining us now is the man of the hour, David Wildstein, editor of the New Jersey Globe. Our good friend David, congratulations. Good morning. The New Jersey Globe, amazing. And we're very lucky here at On New Jersey to be part of it with you. And Rider University selected to host that first gubernatorial debate. Walk us through what the moment means for your team and why the partnership is uniquely positioned to host this event.
Well, this was great. I mean, there was first of all, a lot of interest, a lot of major media players, nationally and local, put in for this debate. It's the key race in the country this year. So, Jersey, which sometimes gets the short shrift, sometimes gets forgotten, people were there. And, and for all of us, this is just, it's an honor because New Jersey gubernatorial candidates have to do two debates. It's what they agree to do in exchange for millions and millions of dollars in public financing. And I got to tell you, Ken, I look at your station On New Jersey and what you've accomplished over what is it, 2.5 years? I mean, this is sort of we're witnessing the birth of a new network here. The ELEC commissioners, kudos to all of them. They recognized the change in the way people get their news. That it's not from 7 to 8. Instead of watching Jeopardy, you're going to watch a debate and Wheel of Fortune. It's being able to deliver something where people can watch on their own time, find themselves easily and be at their convenience. But think about what's happened On New Jersey in this short time. I mean, just yesterday, you had some big names that came before the panel and asked to moderate the debate. You had Dana Bash at CNN. You had Stephanie Ruhle at MSNBC. Pat Battle, who we've all known for a very long time.
I know Pat very well.
Yeah, and NBC, and quality people, and PBS and News 12. And who is the winner of this competition? It's your Laura Jones. Laura Jones came out, and the reason is because they trust on New Jersey and the New Jersey Globe and Ryder that we have now developed this history of putting on fair debates. We don't do gotcha questions. We talk about local issues that New Jersey people care about. We're going to be the ones that ask about health benefits for state workers, or and how they're going to pay for it, and how it's going to affect property taxes, and all sorts of local issues. We know about potholes on Route 80, and how the governor is ultimately responsible for that. So we get to give the voters the chance to see the two candidates face to face talking about local issues, and it's just for a station like On New Jersey, for the New Jersey Globe, which isn't much older than you guys. We're 7.5 years, and it no longer is a time where people can helicopter into New Jersey every 4 years and say, we're here. We are here with this great national audience, and what they said is, no, we want the local news people. We want the people that are dealing with these issues on a daily basis to be able to be the ones to ask the information. So I'm just incredibly proud of On New Jersey, of our group, of Micah Rasmussen at the Revovich Institute, who knows New Jersey issues, to the smallest detail. And by the way, and I don't want to embarrass you, but when they know that Ken Rosato is part of this proposal and that you're going to be there, and you at the last debate did hours of pre-show and hours of post-show. We don't just show up there and say, okay, we're going to do a debate for 55 minutes and we're out the door. This is an event. This is something that people watch. Our debates, and if I sounds like I'm crowing a little bit, it's because I am. We had over 900,000 people watch our gubernatorial debates in May, and part of it is we re-aired them 16 times. Now we're going to do that. We're going to continue to put them on constantly. It's going to be in multiple languages, just about every language that the state of New Jersey uses to register voters, and have be able to vote in voting machines in native languages. We're going to have closed captioning in those languages.
It's amazing. And by the way, thank you for the praise to us, certainly to the Globe. You guys are an amazing publication. And I say publication in quotes because it's an online publication. Gone are the days when you do this. I can't tell you the last time I held a printed newspaper. It just isn't something really done much anymore. It was funny. I was in a Publix supermarket in Florida a couple of weeks ago, and I saw the stand in front. And I saw some newspapers, printed newspapers in the stand. Then I looked at one. There was the newspaper there was 3 weeks old.
Wow.
It was 3 weeks old because nobody buys them. They just sit there. And you would think some of the retirees in Florida would want the printed copy. Not so much anymore. So you're right. The whole industry has evolved. And that said, ELEC has also awarded a second debate to my old folks. I worked at WABC TV for 20 years, great people, and their sister station, the ABC-owned station in Philly, WPVI 6ABC, also to Rutgers. And pardon me, a lieutenant governor debate goes to Channel 11. What do you think it says about ELEC's priorities that they chose this mix of local and regional with us? So we're the state of New Jersey, and then they chose those regional flanking stations. What do you think the mentality was there?
Yeah, I think, look, I looked at the list of people that were competing, and it's impressive. I mean, no doubt when you have Dana Bash of CNN that covers people at the highest levels of American politics saying, I want to come to New Jersey and do a town hall meeting with voters to talk about issues. I mean, that's just an incredibly effective proposal. What ELEC did is they were able to look beyond sort of the shiny bells and whistles of a big network and say, what do we care if people in Minneapolis and in San Antonio are watching a gubernatorial debate? We want to reach as many New Jersey voters as we can. And that's really what's important. You've got a potentially close race here. I think it's close, and our responsibility as an informed electorate. We're doing an hour and a half debate. I had to promise everybody that we wouldn't do 2.5 hours like we did last time, and that was, I'm happy we did that because voters really got to see the depth of a candidate. Candidates get, I think it's about $12 million in public financing from the state. And all they have to do for $12 million is 2 debates and one for the lieutenant governor. That's a pretty good payoff. Ken, I would venture to say, and I don't want to, I don't want to offend your libertarian streak here or anything, but by venturing as to how much money you have. But my guess is you and I could be convinced to debate twice a week for $12 million in perpetuity. So this is a great deal for the candidates.
I agree.
And this is what they have to give up. And by the way, both of the candidates, Cheryl, one of the things on New Jersey, the Globe and Ryder did, and I was surprised to learn that not everybody did this. In fact, nobody else did this. Complete and total briefing to the 2 campaigns prior to putting our debate application, showing our card, saying, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to run the debate. Do you have any feedback? And wound up getting to a place where both candidates were happy with the proposal before we even walked in the door. And it's probably arrogant for me to say that there's a lack of arrogance in the way we do things, but we're just Jersey people. And we know how Jersey works. And one of the ways Jersey works is you have a sit down and you talk to people and you communicate with them in advance. No surprises, no fights, at least not from our end. Hopefully, maybe from the candidates. But it comes from the experience that our group of ONNJ Jersey, the New Jersey Globe and Ryder have done. We have, starting with the Globe, in the infancies of, we did our first debate in 2020 during COVID on Zoom. And you remember when Zoom was like sort of cutting edge and cool, and people, and we did it virtually during COVID. Now these are massive events. Ryder's going to have, I think this is a debate for about 1,500 people that are going to be there, cheering on their candidates or just watching. And that's good for New Jersey. And again, I'm rambling and I apologize, but I get excited about this stuff. And, isn't it the fact that we had such a large applicant pool of credible media organizations looking to do this debate is great for New Jersey. It was great for them to have
agree.
choice.
I agree. And I might say, by the way, the reason why we're down from 2.5 hours to 1.5 hours is this time it's only 2 individuals. Yeah. So those people are actually going to get more time per person to speak than when we had 5 in the Democrat side and three in the Republican. There will be plenty of time during that 90 minutes. The other stations, and this is not to knock them, they have the reality of obligations to the networks, et cetera. So they only get 30, 60 minutes, whatever. I don't know what their schedule is, so I don't want to impugn them in any way. But we have the ability to say, no, we'll do 90 minutes and we'll make it breathe. And you ask every question and answer every question, and not in 10-second sound bites. We want to know. And by the way, the only issue I have, and I know this is separate from the debate, the issue I have with our candidates is I feel I'm not hearing enough from them. It seems like both are playing the Biden rule of let's stay in the basement and talk only when necessary. They need to come out. We need to hear more. And I think they both have a lot to offer. These are two really prime candidates. But I want to hear more as a New Jersey resident from both of them before we get to the debate. David Wildstein, we're actually out of time right now, but we will have you back, obviously, many times between now and September. Editor of the New Jersey Globe. Check it out online. I check it out every day. And of course, you could see David Wildstein's Inside Edge right here on New Jersey every morning during On New Jersey Mornings. David, you are a great man. Thank you so much for coming on this morning, my friend. You bet. Looking forward to September. It is 8:33, and when we come back, it's a 5K like no other. We will tell you about the I Run for Girls 5K Run Walk. Also, the phone lines are open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 30.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Very good morning to you. Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. We have 79 degrees already. That doesn't usually happen at this early hour. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:34. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Heat advisory in effect today, like I had to tell you. Sunny to partly cloudy today. Could be a stray thunderstorm. Highs in the upper 90s, but it all gets better. Mañana. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. We've got a really warm start to the day, but there is some relief on the way, like Ken was mentioning, and it will come with some rains and even some flooding potentially tomorrow afternoon. However, that rain ends by Friday. We've got a cooler, beautiful weekend ahead with dry, sunny weather to take us throughout the upcoming weekend. Nothing more than some high clouds right now, giving way to a pretty sky, but it'll feel hot even down the shore toward the beaches. Low 90s along the coast, upper 90s inland, staying warm and humid all throughout. Even the air quality, not so great. It's unhealthy for sensitive groups whenever that air quality reaches 150 or higher. So right there in the center of the state, we have the ozone, we have some of the smoke particles from the Canadian wildfires, even from out west there toward Utah and northern portions of Arizona. All of that smoke headed across the northern part of the U.S. Well, some of that smoke reaching New Jersey today, but again, it's mostly ozone, keeping our air quality poor. And of course, lots of just stagnant, sticky air with the heat index feeling like it's right around 100 into the end of the day, even down towards southern New Jersey. Now, tomorrow we'll see a little bit of relief, and that is with the drier weather that comes in, allowing for the heat index to drop into the 60s by the end of the week. And then it's just downright pleasant this upcoming weekend. So we see the incremental feels like temperature go down over the next few days. There's our high of 101 forecast today. 101 is the record. So we may tie it from 1949, given how warm it has been over the last few days. The heat is certainly there to start, and that's also warming up the water temperatures, upper 70s and low 80s from Atlantic City to Cape May, even by Sandy Hook. High tide happening this afternoon, just afternoon, and with plenty of sunshine to enjoy at the beach as your sunset, not till 8:14. A low risk of rip currents as a result of the very calm and still air. It's really the only good thing that comes out of this with the very stagnant air. But again, with the threat of some heavy rains on the way for tomorrow, and going into our Friday, I think we'll see most of the rain wrap up before Friday afternoon and then clearing for Saturday. Look at all that clear sky that takes over. A beautiful weekend ahead, feeling like fall almost as we head into Sunday, with temperatures only rebounding into the low 80s with all of the dry weather. So we go from 90s to 70s in just a matter of hours, and it'll feel quite pleasant even this weekend with that low humidity. And then we see temperatures eventually creep back up into the mid 80s. So with a very pleasant feel even down the shore by this weekend, have to make it through the rain that comes in later tomorrow, and especially for early Friday morning. The rain is delayed about 12 hours because it takes so long for that front to sag its way southward. And then Saturday and Sunday, beautiful this upcoming weekend. Look at that, 79 on Saturday. Amazing weather even going into next week. So we will enjoy the dry feel while it lasts, because I'll show you coming up, Ken, the longer range heading into the first 2 weeks of August could be slightly above average in terms of temperature. So there may be some more heat waves in our offing within the next 2 weeks.
We've had a number of how many heat waves have we had for the summer? There've
Well, it
been a few,
depends on
right?
the area. So Trenton versus Newark versus Atlantic City. So far, I think we've counted 4 for Newark, but they've been those long duration heat waves. And to have them, well, remember we were talking about a super heat wave, or what do you call when it's 3 days of 100 degrees in a row?
Right.
There was one of those too. So yeah, it's
Remember we
unusual.
call that an Ach wave.
Yes.
Wow. All
Or a
right, sir.
sigh, just a like Pam,
Yeah,
our
that's a
director,
pet
says.
director because she hates the hot weather. So
Uh-huh.
I say, you know what I say? Because we love, at least I love the hot weather myself. I'll just do the show from Fort Lauderdale. Pam could direct the show from Vermont, and everybody be happy. New Jersey's right in the middle. It all works out. Everybody smiles. All right, Mike, we will check back. Thank you, sir. It is approaching 80 degrees right now at 8:39 in the morning. Let's just tell you about some of the traffic. This is not too pleasant. So right now we have a water main break still on 1 and 9 northbound north of Route 35 in Woodbridge with the 2 right lanes closed. So look at this mess. This has been that way well over an hour, and that goes on for over a mile. Actually, it's about 2 miles now. That's not going anywhere fast, as you can see, because that water main break is just ahead of those cars, and that's going to be hours before they get that repaired. So avoid that area if at all possible. 1 and 9 northbound in Woodbridge Township. Stay off of that. And that's a major thoroughfare. So there aren't a lot of alternates, but just avoid that like the plague. We have a crash on 206 northbound by Lamington Road in Bedminster Township. All lanes are closed in that area as well. Then we have a down pole on Route 38 westbound by Pine Street, Mount Holly Township. The ramp lane and right shoulder are closed. And a crash investigation 2 on 195 westbound east of exit 5, Route 130 in Hamilton, with the right lane of the 2 lanes closed. Taking a look at our our Hudson River crossings. This is the approach right now to the Helix, making your way into the Lincoln Tunnel if we could. This is the Route 3 495 merge. Not actually that bad. So you can see where the 2 merge. They're moving. Usually at this hour, that's dead stopped. So the fact that you have motion there, that's not so bad. So that's why they're telling me it's now 20 minutes making your way into Manhattan via the Lincoln Tunnel. It's only 10 to 15 at the Holland. And if we could switch over, it takes a second to do this, switch over to the 8095 approach, upper and lower levels of the GWB. It's improved a little bit, still kind of heavy. It's still 25 minutes, but better than it was 45 minutes ago. Yeah, it is moving just a little bit. You can see the lower level on the left is your better bet versus the upper level on the right, which seems a little heavier. 8:41 is our time. On Sunday, September 21st, Girl Scouts Heart of New Jersey will host its annual I Run for Girls 5K run walk. Now at a beautiful new location, the Orange Reservoir in West Orange. It's more than just a run. It is a chance to support programs that empower young girls with curiosity, confidence, and purpose. Natasha Hemmings, CEO of Girl Scouts Heart of New Jersey, is with us this morning. Good morning, Natasha.
Good morning, Ken. Good to be with you again today.
Glad to have you. We got so much going on. And ironically, the day you have your big I Run for Girls 5K is the day that we're doing the debate, the gubernatorial debate, which we just talked about. So it's the same Sunday. That's going to be a busy day. What was the inspiration
Yeah.
behind I Run for Girls 5K? How does it connect to the Girl Scouts mission?
Well, Girl Scouts is all about girl empowerment. We build girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. That's our mission. So this fundraiser is no different. We want to raise funds to support girls programming, girls membership, and give them access to some life-changing experiences that are obviously going to inspire them to do big things, like maybe run for governor one day.
Love that. And this year's race is at a beautiful new venue, the Orange Reservoir. How'd you choose that?
I know, I know. Well, originally we had the I Run for Girls 5K last year for the first time in many years in Westfield. And so Westfield, Scotch Plains area at Tamaquas Park. And it was inspired by girls who had done their Bronze Award project there at the park. This time we wanted to take it to Essex County, and our Camp Oval is not far away from the Orange Reservoir. So when we were doing a site visit at Camp Oval a couple of months ago, we decided to take a walk down to the reservoir and realized, oh my gosh, this would be an incredible space to have our I Run for Girls 5K this year.
That's awesome. And you do a lot with the money that you raise. In fact, your facility is just
Yes.
stunning. Tell everybody where that money goes, just in case they're curious.
If you're curious, we have 3 camp facilities as well as the Girl Scout Leadership Center in Newark that we support. We make sure that girls have spaces to flex their leadership muscles. And so that's all a part of our operation. We run 3 camp properties. We run the Girl Scout Leadership Center. We have a mobile classroom powered by Kane University on the road. And all of the programming that we do at all of these spaces, we use the funds that we raise from adults like yourself to support those efforts.
I love it. And of course, you do so much more than just cookies, although those are some of the best darn
Yes.
things ever. I've gained many a pound over the years from that. You have STEM, you have service. What are some of the standout programs being offered by the Girl Scouts?
So I talked about the mobile classroom. We have robotics and AI programs being delivered in the mobile classroom. We have science of ice cream programs being delivered all over our 7-county footprint. At the Girl Scout Leadership Center, we have Second Saturdays happening, which is all about civic engagement and leadership development for girls, badge and patch programs. They're real from soup to nuts. There's something of interest for every girl who wants to belong to Girl Scouts.
I love it. And last year's turnout was huge. What are you hoping for this year in terms of turnout?
See, I'm running actually in the 5K again this year for the second time. I wasn't a runner before. I am an avid runner now behind this I Run for Girls 5K. And so we're looking for hundreds of people to participate, not just runners, walkers. We're looking for families to come out. There's going to be a number of activities, badge building activities that we're going to do at the reservoir that day. And if you were ever curious about what girls do in Girl Scouting, there are going to be plenty of girls there to tell you all about the incredible things that they have been able to learn because they became a Girl Scout. It's a really family friendly event and venue. And we invite hundreds of people to come out, run, walk, spectate, volunteer. We have lots of water to hand out and lots of granola bars and fruits that are going to need to be distributed for our runners. So your viewers and anybody who can hear my voice today needs to be a part of this I Run for Girls 5K.
You got to give some Girl Scout cookies out. I'm just saying. You have Tagalogs there, and I will. And by the way, I was corrected. We say Tagalog. Friends of mine from the Philippines say they're called Tagalogs, and I'm like, okay. Apparently, that's how you say it. Filipino is Tagalog. That's the language they speak. How can people get involved or find out more? What's a website?
So they can go to our website, gshnj.org/I Run for Girls. Just go to our website. It's there on the front page. There's lots of information there. You can get involved as a runner or a walker. You can volunteer. We're still looking for sponsors as well. So if there are businesses out there who want to run for girls and support Girl Scouts Heart of New Jersey, then they can go to our website, www.gshnj.org, and find all the information that they could use.
Well, I think they should sponsor you because the future governor of New Jersey is going to be among those young ladies on that race
That's
day and
right.
run day and walk day. So they should. It is the Girl Scouts Heart of New Jersey I Run for Girls 5K run walk on Sunday, September 21st at the beautiful Orange
Yep.
Reservoir, West Orange. CEO Natasha Hemmings, our good friend. Thank you for coming back again and joining us this morning. Best of luck that day.
Thanks, Ken.
And have fun with the run. I'm glad you're a runner now. She's so awesome. I love this lady. 8:47's our time, and when we come back, a powerful tribute to a baseball legend right here in New Jersey. Heat advisory in effect today. Michael, tell us all about it. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 848, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Heat advisory in effect today. Sunny to partly cloudy, maybe a stray thunderstorm. Highs upper 90s, but it gets better tomorrow. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast on the official heat wave day when it occurs. So we're 12 degrees away right now from calling it a heat wave, right?
We're close. It's creeping up by the minute, Ken. Getting there, but I think with another round of hot weather this afternoon, everybody's just waiting for the relief, the cooling effect of those showers and storms tomorrow. That will drop our temperatures from the 90s, where we sit today, feeling like 100, down into the 80s tomorrow, and then the 70s by Friday. So it'll feel much cooler. Air quality is still pretty poor today, but I think we'll see that improve tomorrow with that rain. It's actually unhealthy for sensitive groups across the central part of the state. Anytime it's above 100, so cause for concern. Above 150, that's where it kind of starts to get interesting for those with respiratory issues. The flash flood risk, this is tomorrow. The entire state covered in that shade of yellow. That's level 2 of 4. If you remember the storms from 2 weeks ago, that was level 3 of 4. So we're right up there. And in terms of rainfall, could see upwards of 3 inches in the northern part of the state. This map changes every few hours with the update, but there's a lot of water coming at us throughout the day tomorrow with those long duration storms, slow moving storms as they move across the state. And the flooding threat could happen starting earlier in the morning, right around the morning rush. Most of New Jersey covered in that shade of red, as is the rest of the country for the first 2 weeks of August, indicating higher than average temperatures, taking us into the first part of the month, but at least will be average in terms of rainfall. The next few days featuring lots of rain tomorrow, some of that rain spilling over into Friday morning for northern New Jersey. And then we clear out beautifully by Saturday and Sunday, a dry, pretty way to start off the weekend and staying quite pleasant into early next week with that low humidity. As far as the shore points, it takes a while for the rain to reach you, so most of tomorrow morning you should be dry. Your rain down the shore happens tomorrow evening, and it could be quite heavy, especially going into Friday morning. Then the rain clears for Saturday, beautiful to start the weekend, and stays dry right through Sunday afternoon. Look at the high on Saturday, only 79 degrees. That'll feel like fall around here with that pretty weather lasting into next week. So a beautiful weekend ahead once we get through the heat today, the rain tomorrow, and then our kind of cool, cloudy day Friday. But weekend looks really good. Excited for that.
All right. I'm looking ahead of the weekend, Mike. I don't know about you, but
Always.
weekend,
Always.
that's it.
Yep.
The way to do it. All right, sir. Much appreciated. It is 8:50 right now. Enjoy your day, Mike, by the way. We'll see you tomorrow when it's a little cooler. 8:50, and we have a temperature of 77 degrees. Let's see, 77 in North Jersey. It's 80 in Trenton right now. So we must have had a couple of clouds pass over our head because it was 79 a minute ago. 8:51 is our time right now. We take a look at some of the traffic building up in the area. We have now issues on Route 1 and 9 northbound north of Route 35 in Woodbridge Township. The 2 right lanes of the 3 lanes are closed. This is all due to a water main break. That FedEx truck was there 15 minutes ago. It has not moved. That is literally dead stopped. So what you're looking at again, this is Woodbridge Township. The 2 right lanes of the 3 lanes closed. Just dead stop because of that water main break just ahead northbound from that point. So avoid that if at all possible. We have Hudson River crossings to tell you about right now. Making your way in the Holland Tunnel, that's 15 to 20 minutes. Lincoln Tunnel is about 20 to 25 minutes. And we take a look at the upper and lower levels of the GWB. Right now, we are told that this is the 8095 approach. We're told it's about 40 minutes on the lower level, and it's about 25 minutes on the upper level. So upper is on the right, lower is on the left. It is entirely due to volume, nothing else. So it's not like you have anything to worry about in terms of accidents. Pam, you let me know if we have our person. No? Okay. So I'm assuming we don't have our, okay. So we'll just resume. Pam, I'll tell you where to pick it up. You pick it up at the 750 traffic, 750 news, I should say. That's where we pick it up. So in the news right now at 8:52, the Trump administration and Chinese officials are moving toward extending a 90-day tariff truce. The two sides struck back in May, but President Trump has not yet signed off on it. We'll take a listen to President Trump.
In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China after productive talks in Geneva. Both sides now agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed after April 2nd to 10% for 90 days as negotiators continue on the larger structural issues. And I want to tell you that a couple of things. First of all, that doesn't include the tariffs that are already on, that are our tariffs, and it doesn't include tariffs on cars, steel, aluminum, things such as that, or tariffs that may be imposed on pharmaceuticals, because we want to bring the pharmaceutical businesses back to the United States, and they're already starting to come back now based on tariffs.
By the way, the United States has made about $200 billion on tariffs since they were first imposed, which has actually helped bring us to a positive point for the month of June for the first time. That we've had a positive balance sheet for a month in years. He's doing something right. We'll see what happens with the Fed, if they're going to raise or lower interest rates as a result. But the economy is looking very good because of that extra money President Trump brought in. Momentum to extend the truce in which both countries held off on imposing massive, what would have been triple-digit tariffs on imports on one another, came as a result of 2 days of U.S.-China talks in Stockholm. Trump eventually paused most of the tariffs for 90 days while the administration negotiated a number of successful trade deals. He may extend that another 90. We'll see what happens. Countries that have not yet agreed to new trade deals will see tariff hikes starting this Friday. But the good news is the U.S. now has wonderful trade deals in place with two of our biggest trading partners, the EU and the UK. And basically anybody after that, China would be nice. We'll see where that stands. But anybody after that is kind of icing on the cake, because the two biggest trading partners are now locked into deals that are much better for the United States. Before we were you could not find an American car in the streets of England or anywhere in Europe. I was just in Europe a couple of months ago, a month and a half ago. Every car there was a European or Chinese car. There was not an American import anywhere. And that will change now because of the tariff rule. Because if they want to sell cars here, they have to start taking them in there. 8:55, a Washington Township couple was ambushed by two masked robbers after returning home from dinner at the Ritz-Carlton in Philadelphia. The attackers followed the couple to their Crofton Run home on Sunday night, where one struck the man with a handgun, stealing his Rolex and wallet. The other held a woman at gunpoint. Surveillance video shows the suspects fleeing in a vehicle with a temporary plate. Despite a drone and canine search, the robbers are still on the run. 8:55, a police-involved shooting in Berlin Township left a suspect hurt yesterday near Hatton and Bate Avenues. The incident happened about 2 in the afternoon following reports of shots being fired. The suspect was taken to Cooper University Hospital with unknown injuries. Witnesses described a tense encounter between officers and the man before shots rang out. No officers reported hurt, and police are investigating. 8:56, 78 degrees in Spring Lake. Homeowners on Tuttle Avenue were shocked to find an intruder in their bedroom early Saturday morning. Investigators say 36-year-old Georgie Charles, or Charles, I believe he is Haitian, so hence the pronunciation, Georgie Charles of Jersey City, took off in a vehicle but was spotted 90 minutes later in Neptune City. Charles was arrested after a standoff with the Monmouth County Emergency Response Team. He faces burglary and trespassing charges. You have to stop what you're doing and take a look at this video. This is in Montvale. Police in Montvale released video of a 15-year-old e-bike rider crashing into a car at around 40 miles an hour. And there's a couple of problems with this. He's only 15. He should not be on an e-bike on the road. All right, that's number one. Number two, he was, according to police, speeding. Number three, that car is turning into oncoming traffic. And number four, that car is allegedly or apparently crossing a double line. So there's a lot of fault going around for the two of them. But bottom line is that kid, that 15-year-old, is luckier than a pig and you know what to be alive right now. He's in serious condition, but very much alive. And when you look at that accident, you think, how on God's green earth did he survive that? God has some plans for that young man. I hope he values the fact that he survived that. Nonetheless, it's happened back on July 18th. Video showing the teen slamming into the car as it was making a turn from a gas station. It says a legal left turn. I don't know how that is a legal left turn, because you see the double solid lines with the left turn lane there. So how is that a legal left turn? He's going over double solid yellow lines, and he's turning into traffic that's oncoming, and he does not have the right of way. So we'll see what the investigation says. That young man was rushed to Hackensack University Medical Center. Police say they may ticket both the rider and the driver. Methinks that's correct. New Jersey Congressman Herb Conaway and Donald Norcross are demanding answers from the Trump administration about their plan to use Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst as an immigrant detention center. In a letter, they raised concerns about the facility's readiness, costs, and humane treatment of up to 3,000 detainees, while Congressman Chris Smith supports the plan, citing the base's past use for migrants. Conaway and Norcross seek transparency to ensure there be no disruption to military operations. They've requested a briefing and written responses by August 15th. By the way, they never protested when the Obama administration actually housed 500 migrants there when there was the Haiti crisis, the earthquake in Haiti. There was never an issue then, but now that Bad Man Orange wants to do it, clearly there's a problem. Thank you for watching on New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll see you again tomorrow morning starting at 7 a.m. Stay cool today. Drink lots of water. See you tomorrow.